Hello, my name is Duncan and welcome to Back Away from the Donkey and Bath Books. Yeah, it's been a while. So I'm going to start this video off. I'll probably forget everything I wanted to say. It's a pick and mix video, so I've got some books I picked up and what I'm reading, what have you. But also just a bit of an update. Not that anybody really probably cares what's happened to me, but yeah, I've been quite quiet for the past couple of weeks. It's been a bit of a nightmare couple of weeks. Let me tell you a story. I used to play rugby league and rugby union, and in a league game once, I remember carrying the ball, if you know rugby, running into a group of people, going down, and somebody stamped on the back of my ankle, and basically it tore a bunch of ligaments in my ankle, and the ankle has never been the same since. And then when I was running about 5 or 6 years ago, I fell and I ripped it again. So what I get now is every now and then it just swells up for no apparent reason, and I can't walk. And that happened about 2 weeks ago. I woke up one morning and I could hardly walk. And as I said, I'm the full-time carer for my wife, so it makes life difficult. So I had that, and then directly after that, I got some, I don't know whether it was a bug or what, but I was vomiting for about 2 days. And so that wasn't particularly pleasant. Not that you really want to know all my health problems, but yeah, so it's not been particularly good. And long-term wise, I have suffered from clinical depression and an anxiety disorder. So one of the ways I handle myself is by my reading and my hobbies, and the fact that I like to walk my dogs and things like this. And obviously some of that was taken away. I wasn't hardly been able to read or anything. So all that sort of stuff increased. So it's been quite a hard sort of climb back up to getting back into my reading and making myself feel a wee bit better. I'm getting there slowly. I'm a bit disappointed I've not been trying to make this video. I've been trying to make for 4 days. I just kept putting it off. So it's been not the easiest thing in the world to sort of climb back up. So, but I missed it. Yeah, and then the other thing we had, which also didn't help either my anxiety or my depression, was the fact that I live in a little close area, and we recently, well, last year had a path put down towards the other end of the close. So now I get twice as much traffic walking past my house, and people think, well, you're silly, but that stresses me. I don't know why, it just does. It's just an anxiety thing. But then we've had, in our little area, we've had one of my neighbours 2 doors across sadly died. And then 2 days ago, another one sadly died. And it's all like, oof. I wasn't close friends with them, but I knew them to say hello to, and I used to help them out occasionally and what have you. And that sort of hit me bizarrely in some really strange way. And there was a bit with the first gentleman that sadly died. He was alone. He was sadly an alcoholic, and he lived by himself and had a disability. And basically what happened was people who didn't know him cleaned out his house. And as far as I can work out, all his life belongings literally got chucked into a van. Half of it went to the dump, which I found incredibly sad. And I thought, wow, what happens to all my stuff? Because I don't have any children or anything. Obviously my wife, and I've got books, I've got stuff that's worth stuff that's not, but it's all part of my life. And it's just a really, really sad thought. So actually, I'm going to put a link below. On my, sorry, I've got a scratch. On my blog, I wrote a little piece about what do we do with all our stuff. And if you find it interesting, there's a direct link below. Obviously, it's to my blog site, so there's no, like, on my stuff, no monetization or adverts or anything. It's just direct link, and my website's safe and what have you. So if you want to read that, because I think it's an interesting discussion of what we do with all our things. Because even if you do have family or close family that might take on your stuff, they might not like what you want, and what do you want to happen to it. Like, I've got things I've collected over my lifetime, and books and magazines. I've got next door, I've got nigh on 2,000 DVDs, Blu-rays and 4Ks, and because I love film, you know, to somebody else they're worth pence, but to me they're worth a lot. So yeah, I thought that was interesting discussion to have, and I was actually going to do a video about it, but then obviously due to these reasons I've not been doing videos. So I did write a piece, and it said it is up on my blog, and the link is below. So yeah, so it's been a hard few weeks. I want to get back into this. So I'm hoping this week, other than this video, to do, I've got a tag video because Al from Big Al Does BookTube tagged me, and I'm going to do that tag probably tomorrow to come out on Tuesday, and then I'm going to planning on doing another video to the back end of the week on one of the books I've been reading, and then hopefully try and get back into the flow and catch up on the stuff I wanted to do. So that's my plans for the week. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but if you watch me and you enjoy my stuff, it's great, and I hope you continue to enjoy it. So I've got a few things here that I was going to talk about. What I've recently been reading, so I've not read a lot because literally with my foot and then illness and depression wise and whatever, catching up. So I've been reading, I'm going to do a full video on this one, Don Quixote, Cervantes Don Quixote. A lot further behind than I should be, because I was meant to be doing 100 pages a week, and that's not happened. I'm on about 150 pages, but I'm actually really adoring the book. It's really, really good. If you read it, the line that got me was, this is going to be worse than the windmills, which was Sancho Panza line. So yeah, I'm hoping you're going to talk a little bit about that, probably at the next weekend be my plan, because then I would have hopefully got another 100 pages or so underneath my belt on that. I've just finished, I decided I wanted some lighter reading as I was doing stuff. I reread, I've not read it for about 20 years or so, Asimov's Pebble in the Sky. I'm a huge Asimov fan and of his work, and this was his first officially published novel, even though I Robot and that came out before. It wasn't written as a novel. I've forgotten how, rereading this, I've forgotten how not bitty it is, but you start off by getting lots of people's points of views, so it takes a while for it all to form together, but really enjoyed reading it. It's not his best book, but I really enjoyed reading it. This cover I love, and I have no idea who the artist is, but I really do. This is a which edition is this? It's obviously a Sphere one from 1971. Came out, this one. But there was an advert in the back for other books, which there always is, and one called, I've got about 3 versions of this book. One called Naked is the Stranger. And what it says here is, Naked Came the Stranger, it's got Naked Came the Stranger. It's a dirty book. One of the funniest, dirtiest books of all time. It's the story of Gillian Blake and half the male population of chic New York suburbs. Her appetite is insatiable, and she caters for all tastes. From zonked-out hippies to raunchy rabbi, from a pornographer who wishes he could practice what he preaches, to a rather pretty young man who prefers not to think about the war between the sexes. Naked Came the Stranger was written by Penelope Ash. Penelope Ash is the pen name of 13 Randy Madison Avenue ad agency copywriters who set out to write a funny, dirty book. They succeeded. If you buy it, please don't have it around for kids, genteel maiden ladies, or people with weak hearts to get hold of. Naked Came the Stranger. Sorry, it's hilarious. I now want to find a copy of this book because it sounds so bizarre. But yeah, that was an advert in the back of this copy of Pebble in the Sky. So I've got a newer copy. I've got a 1980s copy with a Chris Foss cover as well. I'm flying back there. Somebody's not decided to read that one. But yeah, that was a really nice reread. Also, I read Penultimate Truth that I've not read for a few years. I may have mentioned in an earlier video, Philip K. Dick. I read this because I'd recently watched Silo on Apple TV, which is from the Hugh Covey, is that the name of the author? His books, Wool and something. And the premise reminded me of this book, and about people being kept underground. So I reread this. I really enjoyed this. I'm actually going to hopefully do a little video on that one later. And then we get up to a few things I've picked up recently. I'm on a bit of a Wilson Tucker thing at the moment. Wilson Tucker, he seems to be one of the sort of slightly forgotten Golden Age writers. I read Time Masters, which is back on my shelf there, which was I really enjoyed. It didn't blow me away, but it was a really enjoyable book. So I picked up recently Resurrection Days and The Lincoln Hunters, and this is the one I'm looking forward to, and I'm probably going to read next, is The Year of the Quiet Sun, which I found a real difficult job getting hold of a not stupidly priced old paperback copy of. And I don't even think this is, I think this is out of print. I don't think it's even in like Sci-Fi Masterworks or anything, because it was nominated for the Hugo and it's down as a classic. And this cover is a beautiful Peter Elson one, who I went on to Peter, there's a site for Peter Elson artwork. Peter Elson sadly died in 1999, about the age of 50. But it shows the full back and front of it. So I might see if I can find a picture of it and put it up there for you, because it's a great piece of artwork. And I was actually thinking about artworks on book, because for me, probably the pinnacle of artwork on books was between 75 and 85. All through the golden age of science fiction, they were great, and up to sort of mid-90s, maybe to the late 90s. Modern ones, they just seem to have gone rubbish. You don't get all the big, beautiful artworks, or very rarely now. So to me, the pinnacle of art, and I was considering maybe doing some videos on some of the artists from that period. So if anybody's interested in that, just pop a thing down below and tell me you are, because I've got some books on some of these artists. I know quite a lot about them, and it's quite interesting. But I said this Peter Elson one got me thinking about that. And you have artists like Chris Foss, who did loads of Asimov stuff, but there's all, to me, a lot of modern covers, they just don't do much for me. It's weird. I've seen the new covers for Asimov's Foundation ones, and it's like, what are you doing? Because they're just terrible. That's just my opinion. So yeah, so there's that. And the other thing I picked up was edited by Ben Bova, is Exiles, which is 3 novellas. There's 3 books in this series, all concentrating on some novellas, and this one's got one by Paul Anderson, Eric Frank Russell, and Asimov. I've never actually read any Eric Frank Russell, I don't think. May have picked up the odd short story, so that'd be quite interesting. And great Chris Foss cover on the front of that. But what's funny in this is I just had a quick look at the introduction by Ben Bova, and as I said before, I'm a big Asimov fan of his writing. His writing is great, and I do think sometimes he's underestimated, because a lot of his stuff, especially work on robots and that, just sort of permeated society. As a person, like most people, he was flawed, and he was known to be a little bit handsy. I used to have an uncle like that, was a bit handsy with women. Totally inappropriate. I'm not saying that it was right or anything, but people sort of got away with it a lot more. Though famously, Harlan Ellison pulled him up on it in I'm trying to think which convention, a convention in the 1960s, and had a real go at him for it. But the reason I'm mentioning it is because in this introduction here, he's talking about Asimov. He was Ben Bova's big friends with Isaac Asimov. And what he says is, yeah, it's got to, although he wrote this in his introduction, this is why it stood out to me. This is all about Isaac Asimov. Although he loves to pinch young ladies, and older ladies too, he's really a gentleman in the truest sense of the word. A self-admitted genius, he is also a warmest-hearted man I know. The fact that he wrote this in an introduction, and what I found was interesting is that it was acceptable to write this in the introduction, okay? Like just passing it off as a joke, the fact that he used to pinch women and pat them a bit too much. And the fact that I was thinking, if I'd read this early 80s, would I have noticed it? Would it have been just passed me by or not? So it's a good thing that I pick up. To me, it's a great thing that I pick up on that and think, nah, that's just wrong. But I find it interesting, the fact that that is in the introduction. I don't like to go into the background of writers. I like their writing to stand on there, but sometimes the characters are quite interesting, and that is just like weird. But yeah, I'm going to try and pick up the other 2 books in this series. One's called Aliens, the first one, and the third one's called 3 Novellas. And I had a look around. They're a bit pricey for those sort of paperbacks at the moment, but I'll keep an eye out for them. So I said probably the next I want to think I'm reading is probably, so I've got alongside obviously Don Quixote, Year of the Quiet Sun, as I said. I want to do another book for Book Trek. I've only done 2 so far, so I've done 1 a month over the 3 months of it, but hey. So I'm probably going to do the Ishmael one by Barbara Hamley that I showed a while ago, which I really just like to Western gambling theme. I just think, yeah, Barbara Hamley's a great writer as well. So that's probably what I'm going to be reading next. Though, as always with me, there is no guarantees. No guarantees what I'm going to do at all. So yeah, so that's what I'm planning to do there. Also, I've got I've got a bunch of old Omni magazines and some Fear magazines, tons of Starlog magazines, and I wanted to do some videos talking about them. And I'm not sure what sort of format to do them in. Do I do an issue at a time, which would take me years? Do I do a thing about a bunch of issues, or do I just pick a random issue and just go through one with you? So, as I said, I'm always up to ideas, and I'm hoping that people might be interested in this, because I love those sort of things anyway. And what's the other thing? Oh yeah, I see a lot of people are doing Garb August. Somebody asked me, would I be doing Garb August? And I don't do Garb August because I have a ethical problem with it. I'll leave it at that. If you want to ask me in a message or something, ask me. But yes, but hopefully there's people who are doing Garb August and read some really good books. But yeah, I don't officially take part in Garb August. Probably what they can count as garbage is probably half of what I read most of the year anyway. But yeah, I think that's it for this little update. I said I'm going to have a tag video coming out for Tuesday, for Tag Tuesday, and then one back at end of the week, which could be on one of 2 or 3 books. I've just got a few ideas, but I've been writing some stuff down for, because I'm hoping to get some, obviously putting some more stuff on my blog as well. But anyway, and the other thing I need to do is I need to catch up with all the people on YouTube I follow and normally do lots of comments on and hassle. So I will hopefully catch up. If you're a booktuber, I will catch up on your stuff soon. And if you're not, you're just somebody who's come here to listen to me ramble, I hope you have a good day, and I will speak to you all very soon.